Okay, so here we have a fully assembled Master Shield puzzle. Our aim is to separate the sword and the two middle pieces from the base. And to do that, I'm going to orientate the puzzle in this position, and we're going to keep the sword and the two middle pieces in the same place. We're just going to play around with the heights of the middle pieces, and all we're going to be doing is turning the base around these three pieces. And hopefully that's going to make it a little bit easier for you to follow. So firstly, we need to make sure that we're in the right starting position, and how do we know that is that when we pull the sword, both pieces come out to the same spot. We don't have it's not staggered like this, it is like this position here. And when we've got that, we're going to grab onto those two middle pieces, we're going to push it down, and then we're going to turn the base clockwise 180 degrees. And then we're going to slightly pull out the two middle pieces, and it will be staggered like this. And then we are going to keep turning the base clockwise, and as we gently pull out on those two middle pieces until we get to a position where both are quite even. This position here. Once we're in this position, we are going to turn the base back anti-clockwise, and we're going to gently push the two middle pieces in as we turn, and slowly but surely we will get to a position that looks like this. We've got the engraving on the base just here, and in this position the bottom piece, the bottom middle piece we have to turn a little bit more. The bottom middle piece is sort of quite free to move up and down, and we want it all the way up in this position here, as we then turn the base and gently pull out on those two middle pieces and end up in this position here. Now it's going to feel like it's very close to being solved, but unfortunately we have to take one step back to take two steps forwards here. Once it's pulled out as far as it can, we are going to turn the base back anti-clockwise, and then we're slowly going to push in on these two middle pieces as we continue to turn anti-clockwise. And there is then a point at which this bottom piece, we need to turn back slightly, because this bottom piece will then come out further than it has done full stop. And then we've just got one move to do. We turn back clockwise, and then we've separated the base, and we've also separated these two middle pieces from the Master Sword. And that is how you disassemble the Master Sword puzzle. And to reassemble the Master Sword puzzle, the first thing we need to do is get the orientation right with the two middle pieces. You'll notice that they look very similar, but they are not quite identical. You'll see that this piece has one nodule here, whereas there's two on the piece that for us is the top piece. So our two nodules, that is going to sit here. We're then going to place the sword in the middle of that piece before we close it off with the bottom middle piece. Orientation wise, we are looking to line these two lines up, and we're going to then place the base. So the engraving of the base is here, and we're going to be placing it into this position and then locking it in place by turning anti-clockwise. When we're in this position, we can then push the bottom middle piece down all the way to here, and then we're going to rotate clockwise as we gently pull out those two middle pieces and get to this position in here. Once we're here, we're going to push down on the top middle pieces and continue to gently push down on both as we turn the base anti-clockwise until we get to this position where the bottom middle piece is quite free to move. Now this next move that we need to do is where we have to be the most precise, because this bottom piece can go from all the way to here at the top position and all the way to here down at the bottom. We don't want either of those positions. We want to be in this position somewhere in the middle, where this nodule here is slightly below this nodule on the top piece. When we're in the right position, we can then rotate the base clockwise And we're going to continue to rotate the base clockwise as we gently pull out on those two middle pieces until we get to this position here. Once we're in this position, we then need to just do an extra turn into this position here before we do exactly the opposite and gently push in on both pieces and rotate anti-clockwise and gently push in until both pieces are flat and not quite in its original position, because the engraving is currently here. We need to flip the engraving around into this position, and that is how you reassemble the Master Sword puzzle.